Which hip-hop group almost got into a gunfight with Eminem? Which rapper does he credit for his career in Slim Shady persona? And which co-star did he allegedly date in the early 2000s? During his difficult childhood, Eminem found himself struggling for stability as he moved from one city to the next with such frequency that he would change schools a few times a year. A factor, he told Anderson Cooper on 60 Minutes, which contributed to him suffering intense violence on campus.
Beat up in the hallways, shoved in the lockers, just for the most part, man, just being the new kid.
According to The Smoking Gun, the bullying he endured was so bad that in 1982, Eminem's mom, Debbie Nelson, sued the Detroit School Board for failing to adequately protect the 9-year-old from violence. Her concerns were certainly warranted. According to Nelson's memoir, My Son Marshall, My Son Eminem, one particular assault was so severe that the rapper was hospitalized for 4 days for a cerebral hemorrhage, which left him with serious cognitive trauma. Eminem made reference to the incident in the song Brain Damage, where he described the grisly assault in graphic detail, along with the name of his alleged abuser, D'Angelo Bailey, who would try to sue the rapper for damages. Regardless, Bailey copped to the violence in an interview with Salon, where he was described as being amused over his former bullying, saying, "Damn, that must have scarred him for life." If you're familiar with Eminem's early work, then you'll know that the MC was never one to be polite about stories concerning his mom. Be it on songs like My Name Is, or Cleaning Out My Closet, or in a variety of confessional interviews, Eminem stuck to one narrative, alleging that his mom was an excessive user of prescription drugs whose behavior was abusive toward him. In 1999, Nelson subsequently filed a $10 million slander suit against her son, alleging that his depiction of her had caused various forms of emotional and financial damage.
He needs to quit, making attacks on me. I mean, you don't do this to your mom.
Eminem's lawyer argued to MTV that everything the rapper alleged could be verified and that his life is, quote, reflected in his music. In 2001, her defamation lawsuit resulted in a $25,000 settlement, of which the judge ruled $23,354 should be paid to her former lawyer. The settlement was small, and it certainly didn't stop Eminem from spitting his truth. Further claims in the song My Mom off his sobriety album Relapse alleged that Nelson was responsible for his lifelong struggle with drug abuse. The rapper accused his mom of bullying him as a child and of sprinkling Valium into his food. According to Debbie Nelson, she and her son had to escape from Eminem's father, Marshall Bruce Mathers Jr., when the rapper was just 2 years old due to his dad's behavior. The MC lived without any contact with his father, with Nelson recalling in her memoir that Eminem had written his dad letters which were subsequently, quote, returned, unopened with the words "not known at this address" written across them. Nelson further alleged in her memoir that Eminem's dad showed up the second that his son became a superstar. It certainly appeared that way. In 2001, Mathers even published an open letter to his estranged son in the tawdry British tabloid News of the World, where he claimed that he was innocent from the allegations and that he wasn't trying to reconnect for money. Sadly for him, Eminem didn't buy the excuses for his absence, telling 60 Minutes, "If my kids moved to the edge of the earth, I'd find them. Even if I had nothing, I would find my kids." Despite expressing his desire to make peace with his estranged son, Mathers died at age 67 without having done so. According to Salon, in the absence of his father, Eminem's male figures growing up were his uncles Ronnie Pokingham and Todd Nelson. Of the two, the rapper was said to be closest to Pokingham, a man not much older than him, who introduced him to rap. According to the unofficial biography, The Dark Story of Eminem, Pokingham sadly died by suicide in 1991, when the rapper was 19. Eminem spoke to Rolling Stone of his devastation, saying, "I didn't talk for days. I couldn't even go to the funeral." The rap superstar was still so cut up about the tragedy that he tried to pay tribute to his late uncle in 1999 by sampling his voice for a track. His grandmother protested the use of Pokingham's voice on any of Eminem's songs, telling the Detroit News, "I will not let my grandson destroy my dead son with this garbage." The rapper defended himself to the newspaper and said, "I loved Ronnie. I wanted to pay tribute to him." As for Eminem's other uncle, the two were reported as having become estranged in later years after a falling out. In 2004, the publication reported that Nelson had committed suicide after being arrested for attempting to run over a dog. On top of throwing confessional digs at his absent father and allegedly dysfunctional mother, 1999's The Slim Shady LP also saw Eminem dedicating 2 entire songs to the fantasy of murdering his then-wife, Kim Scott. While Rolling Stone accused the unsettling tune of being, quote, an insane stream of consciousness hate spew, a later Rolling Stone appraisal dismissed the thought that the song advocated for domestic violence. Whatever the intention of the song, it had a negative impact on Scott, who attempted suicide a year after the album's release. According to Salon, she reportedly told police, "There has got to be a better place than this." This led the website to speculate that she had actually suffered in her relationship with the rapper, and that some of his lyrics were more than mere words. Scott's account of how the song affected her certainly suggested as much. In an interview with People, Eminem's ex-wife recounted how seeing the rapper singing a song about her on stage while beating a blow-up doll which bore a resemblance to her destroyed her sense of self-worth, saying, "Seeing the crowd's response and everybody cheering, singing the words and laughing, I knew that it was about me, and that night I went home and I tried to commit suicide." The same year that Eminem's wife felt driven to self-harm by his work, the rapper also found himself in hot water with the law. He might have had the #1 album in the country at the time, but MTV News reported that he was also facing 4 criminal charges relating to various weapons charges. According to the site, one charge stemmed from Eminem's allegedly pulling out an unlicensed firearm during an argument with an associate of Insane Clown Posse. Another saw the rapper being charged with assault with a dangerous weapon on top of one count of carrying a concealed weapon when he allegedly attacked a man he saw kissing his wife, Kim Scott. Despite facing a maximum of 5 years in prison, Eminem received a lenient sentence of 2 years probation, with a further order for the rapper to receive counseling and submit himself to drug testing. The leniency of his sentence spurred controversy, with cultural critic Michael Datcher telling the BBC that the white rapper's sentence was unfair, saying, "African Americans have been sent to jail for years for less severe crimes. It's as if you're saying it's okay to abuse people if you're a hip-hop star with a major contract and you're white." Be it in his song lyrics or the reports about his allegedly turbulent lifestyle and relationships, there were clues from the very start of his career that Eminem struggled with drug dependency issues. During an interview with Vibe, the rapper opened up about how his problem was an open secret, with him confessing to taking, quote, anywhere between 10 to 20 prescription pills per day, including Vicodin, Valium, and Ambien. His excessive drug use came to a head in 2007 when he almost died after a methadone overdose.
How close did you come?
I certainly probably a couple hours away from death.
The incident forced him to get clean and give him a new perspective on his own troubled family history, telling Vibe, "It never once hit me that drug addiction runs in my family. Now that I understand that I'm an addict, I definitely have compassion for my mother. I get it." Eminem subsequently got sober in 2008 and released the critically panned album Relapse a year later. While the album was centered around his recovery, the rapper confessed to The Guardian that he was, quote, still working the drugs out of his system when he wrote it. In 2021, he proudly celebrated receiving his 12-year sobriety coin in an Instagram post. As he revealed to Rolling Stone, the death of one of his oldest and closest friends played heavily in his deepening spiral into heavy prescription drug use. In 2006, Detroit rapper Proof was shot and killed at a local nightclub. Eminem paid tribute to his late friend, who he described as an ambassador of Detroit hip-hop, in a statement published by MTV News saying, "Proof and I were brothers. He pushed me to become who I am. Without Proof's guidance and encouragement, there would have been a Marshall Mathers, but probably not an Eminem, and certainly never a Slim Shady." The Oscar-nominated actor and hip-hop star further urged people to remember the way his best friend lived as opposed to how he died. As an in-depth look at the life and death of Proof by The Guardian noted, the Shady family MC was represented in multiple ways in the Eminem biopic 8 Mile. First, by depicting the MC who trips Eminem's rabbit over his own rhymes in the film's formative rap battle scene. Proof also served as an inspiration for the character of Future, the rapper who encourages Rabbit to find and use his voice. He was an instrumental and central part of Eminem's personal and professional life, and understandably, his death was crushing to the rapper. In 2009, the untimely and tragic death of Brittany Murphy would shock the world. The 8 Mile and Clueless star was just 32 years old when she died of what was originally reported as being natural causes and was later determined to be complications connected to severe anemia and prescription medication, according to the autopsy report. Once upon a time, there were rumors of an on-set romance between Murphy and Eminem, with the rapper playing coy with MTV News when pressed on the matter of romance between the two. Murphy would likewise dodge the topic during interviews. However, her sweetness on the topic of Eminem spoke volumes about their relationship, such as the MTV News interview where she simply gushed, saying, "He's one of the most funny, honest, professional, hardworking actors I've ever worked with, if not the most." Speaking to Vibe in 2010, Eminem suggested that he was understandably saddened by Murphy's death, and also suggested that they shared a deep connection. When asked to reveal what his thoughts were when he heard she died, he said, "It was crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy because at one point we were very close, and she was a really good person." Not every tragic detail about Eminem stems from his lifestyle and relationships. In 2020, the star was victim to a home invasion which saw an intruder slipping past his security and entering his living room, according to TMZ. The website reported that 26-year-old suspect Matthew Hughes used a paving stone to smash a kitchen window and then climbed inside Eminem's Detroit home. The invasion reportedly took place at 4 a.m., with Eminem coming face-to-face with the intruder in his living room after being woken by his alarm. According to testimony given in court by a police officer, the home invader told Eminem that, quote, he was there to kill him. However, it was also noted that the suspect did not arrive with a weapon on his person. Thankfully, nobody was hurt during the incident, and Eminem was able to escort the intruder safely off his property before police arrived. According to police reports, this may not have been the suspect's first attempt to track down the star. In 2019, he was arrested for trespassing on 2 other properties, one of which had been owned by Eminem. In 2021, Hughes pleaded no contest to a reduced charge of second-degree home invasion and received a sentence of time served and 5 years probation. If you or anyone you know is struggling with addiction issues, help is available. Visit the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration website or contact SAMHSA's National Helpline at 1-800-662-HELP 4357.